Alright, hello everyone. This is IX back from the dead with something that I just wanted to share because I feel like at a distance, if you just look at this game and then pass it by, you can write it off as something you might not be interested in when you might actually be more interested than you might think. So this is a collectible card game by the name of Chronicle. The full name is Chronicle RuneScape Legends. Yes, RuneScape, I know. Just hold on. There are a lot of things you might think, like, oh, another collectible card game, another Hearthstone ripoff. Oh, it's by RuneScape people. That's gotta be bad, right? It's gonna be like the cheapest Hearthstone knockoff ever. Look at this, like Yui. Look at these cards. This page. It looks like Hearthstone. It's totally ripping off Hearthstone. Just hold on. Trust me, it's not. It's not at all like Hearthstone, and I'm gonna shock you. I know it's actually a good game. I swear. Just trust me. Let's give it a chance. Okay? It's totally free. You can try it out, and I'm gonna introduce you to some of the basic things about the game. Please, just give it a chance. It's totally different in the way you think about, like, it's a completely different kind of collectible card game. It doesn't play like, like the genre kind of established by Magic the Gathering that so many card games play off of. Totally different style, but it still has the same sort of like adaptive strategy and the same idea of deck building. All of those skills are maintained. And I'd say that it's a great strategic game. And I'm just gonna like get into a game and show you, and then like talk about the game while we play, and then I'm gonna come back and break it down a bit more. But I want you guys to see like and get a feel for the basic idea. I'm gonna play against the AI with like a really basic deck here, and this is like a really simple thing. Okay, well, it's a mirror match. And you guys can just kind of see like the basic way things go, and from there you can get an idea. Okay, let me just see if I can remember how this deck actually wins. Okay, if I remember right... Okay, I probably only want one of these. I'll go more into the idea of the strategy here in a bit. Yeah, these seem like decent to start off with. Okay, so first of all, you'll see that if I were to play minions here, I'm not really playing them onto the board in the normal sense. In fact, these creatures aren't like creatures in other card games at all. If I play them here, let's just play some stuff down and kind of talk about it. So, say we're to do this. It's not the optimal play, but whatever. So I just click on them and they kind of go on here in order. I can move them around and stuff like that if I want, and, they don't have to all be in order like this, whatever. So, instead of playing creatures to fight your opponent, you play creatures for you to fight. And the idea of the game, rather than, trying to establish board control and do whatever you need to do to attack your opponent over and over until one of you dies, the idea is that you're kind of in an RPG type setting, leveling up your characters simultaneously and trying to come up with the optimal build to outpace your opponents in terms of like leveling up, quote unquote, your character, improving your character's stats and equipment and stuff like that. So, yeah, mechanically it is, as far as I know, very unique. I've certainly never seen or heard of a game that plays out quite like this. Yeah, you'll see we're going on to a new chapter here after that's over, and here we'll have up to 4 potential new actions. I draw 3 new cards at the beginning of each of the 5 turns. There's only 5 turns and then the game's over no matter what. So yeah, very short games, very action-packed. And yeah, it's basically just a race to to build the better character, you can still try to attack or mess with your opponents. Like here's a card which would mess with my opponents by griefing his weapon, basically, or nerfing his weapon, whatever. Griefing is a better word. And here I've got, like, so weapons. What are a weapon? Well, here's a weapon right here. It basically gives me, I used one earlier as well, basically gives me attack temporarily. But first let's talk about the more basic things. So what are all these numbers on, like, the creatures and stuff? Okay, so up at the top for the creatures, that's their stats. You've got, this creature here has 7 attack and 2 health. So if this creature got to attack me, it would deal 7 damage to me. But I only need to deal 2 damage to it to kill it. And in terms of the combat mechanics, it's actually, it does kind of remind me of playing RuneScape way back when. If you guys remember, if any of you are old enough. Well, I guess it's still around, but, you know, I played it like, it's been over 10 years. Oh my god. It's been over 10 years ago. It's been 12 years, 13 years even. Wow. I'm old. So yeah, back then, the game wasn't very good, but I think this game is far surpasses what you'd expect coming from a game like RuneScape. Anyways, so yeah, much like RuneScape, whenever you fight anything, you attack that thing and then it attacks you back. You always get the first attack. So if something, right now my attack, I've been leveling up my hero as well, my attack's up to 3, so anything with less than 3 health, if I attacked it, I'm just going to one-shot it. Now, opponents might do something to mess with my attack value, but right now that's not a worry, so anything with less than 3 health I can basically treat as having 0 attack for all as I'm concerned. So that huge attack number might be intimidating in some circumstances, but right now I don't really care. So if I were to attack that, it'd be pretty safe. So let's just go ahead and, yeah, sure, let's plop this down. Now, so I'm going to one-shot it, but what happens afterwards? That's what the things on bottom are for. Those are the rewards for beating it. So after I beat this 7-2 monster, for one, it's going to give me 8 armor, but before it does that, it's going to do what the text says on the card, and that's remove 6 health. So I lose some of my health, but I gain more armor back than I had health. And, you know, armor is depleted just like health, it's just depleted first. And having armor on top of health kind of allows you to go above the normal health cap, because I can heal this health back while having more armor on top of it. So all in all, it's better to have armor than health, and plus I get more of it. So it's still a net gain for me. And that's sort of, like, it's a very low-risk creature to fight, so, you know, that's a pretty safe play. If I wanted to get more gold, I could play this card. What this card does, it's a support card rather than a creature. So instead of needing to fight it, all I need to do is pay a certain gold cost to play it, and that's the point of collecting gold from monsters and other things. But this one costs 0, so it's actually free. After I play it, it will remove a weapon. Now, if I don't have a weapon, the effect still triggers anyways, so it would just remove a weapon if I had one. I don't have a weapon right now, so I can do that and be fine, and it would give me 3 gold for free, basically. So it's best to play that when you don't have a weapon, obviously. As it is, I don't need the gold right now. What I'd rather do is... There's no great way to do this, because if I equip this weapon, it's going to give me +5 attack temporarily for my next 3 attacks. That's what the durability there is for. So it would put me up to 8. Now both the creatures I want to kill right now have 9, so I'm not going to be able to one-shot any of them. But I am going to do this... Actually, I'm not going to do this. First I'm going to do this. I'll get more into strategy later. Let's just worry about the very basics of how things work for now. I want to do this Now this thing is going, I'm only going to be at 8 attacks, so this thing's going to hit me once. So it's going to hurt me quite a lot. But I'm also going to get healed back after killing it for 5 health, so it's only going to deal a net damage of 3 to me, because it's only going to hit me once. And it's also going to raise my base attack permanently by 1. So that's a pretty nice bonus to get, and it's one of the cornerstones of how this fairly noobish deck is designed. By the way, I've only been playing this game for like 2 days, so I'm still pretty low level. I don't have a lot of good cards, and I've only got a fledgling grasp of the strategy, but enough to introduce new people. Alright. So that's going to heal me, and I think I'm going to go ahead, while I have the high attack from this weapon, I'm going to use my 3rd and final hit on this guy. That means I'm also not... Oh wait, no, this is going to increase my attack. Yeah, all according to plan. So, I'm also going to fight this guy, and as you'll see, that'll allow me to kill him in 1 hit because of this +1 attack and my last weapon charge. So, as long as I don't get grief, that'll be fine. And then I'll end it with this, and we'll see how that plays out. We'll see what my opponent does. He might do something to mess me up, but often whenever you play against this tanky guy, especially against the AI, but players don't do a lot with this character to really interfere with the other person. That's why he's kind of easy to play. A lot of times the strategies you build with this guy are just mainly focused on surviving until you get to the final battle, and then just winning by being having more armor and health and having better stats. So yeah, this guy is pretty straightforward in the way you play him. So yeah, I mentioned the final battle. So we're going to go through a total of 5 chapters like this, each with 4 actions. At the end of those 5 chapters, if neither of us has died due to each other doing things to harm each other, or due to us killing ourselves on our own creatures somehow. Hopefully that doesn't happen. Yeah, as long as we all survive, now we're going to have like this final battle and duke it out. So this guy, this deck that I built, pretty much based on a very basic strategy that a lot of people do with this character. I just want to survive until I get to the final battle, and then just win by being better statted than my opponents. So what this is going to do, I'm going to remove some health to get armor again. That's going to lower my health down to 12. And that allows me to trigger this effect. So mortal is a keyword which triggers whenever I have 15 or less health. So since I will have less than 18 health, that'll allow me to do this. And you can start to see where the strategy comes into play here. So there is a lot of strategy in play. It's surprisingly complex, and there's still lots of room for, crazy shenanigans, things, messing with your opponent in ways they don't see coming. It's pretty nice. So that would put me up to 6. Not enough to one-shot this guy even with weapons, so I think I'll just fight him as is. And then I'll fight this guy, and that'll be fine. I need some more draw. I'm starting to run out of cards. And I've got draw on the deck, I'm just not drawing it right now. It happens. Such is the nature of card games. Still a bit of randomness. You still have to kind of adapt your strategy to how you draw and what your opponent does to throw you off. If I were playing against certain decks, I wouldn't be comfortable with my health being this low, but as it is, I know I can afford it. Especially against the silver AI, he's kind of easy. So yeah, whenever you get into the game, you're going to be playing against the AI like this. Whenever you beat the AI, you want to try to beat all 5 characters on each difficulty setting, and you'll get a pack for each one. And there are all sorts of ways to get free packs and free copper at the beginning to buy packs with. All the basic cool stuff like that. It's you know, whenever you start out, it's pretty easy to build a basic deck like this that can get you all the way through, you know, all 3 difficulties of the AI, and even get you pretty high in rank. I've gotten to gold rank using just some starting packs, and I got to gold rank using a deck that has only the first 2 lowest rarity cards in it, so, you know, very easy to build. Okay, that guy just played a card that allowed him to attack me. We'll talk more about specifics later. I just want to give you guys an idea for the feel of the game, pique your interest. But yeah, I've gotten all the way to the gold rank, which is the 2nd highest tier of ranking. Or no, sorry, 3rd highest. Using only the, you know, basically common and uncommon cards. So, what I'm saying is it's really easy to get into the game, at least right now. A lot of people are just starting out, a lot of people are using basic cards. The game just came out a couple of days ago. It was just fully released. So yeah. Okay, we're about to approach the final battle here. And so I've got a card here, which is pretty crucial to this deck, that that heals me basically equal to my armor. So if I do something like this to remove health and gain armor, I get the gold to help me pay for this, but also it just gives more value to this in the long run, because I'm going to get all this health back anyways whenever I use this card. But I might rather, if I don't do this, I can instead equip this sword, which I think is actually going to be better. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to kill this, and I'm going to try to amass some gold from these 2 cards. I've got 2 gold right now. If I get 5 here, I'm going to lose 1 net health, but it's going to allow me to get this card, which will heal me back anyways, and also give me this really beastly weapon, which will be awesome for the final fight here. It's going to be a bunch of extra damage for my first 2 hits against the guy, since we're both going to the final battle. The only thing to consider is that he might have something to remove my weapon, but I'm pretty sure the silver AI with this deck, with this character, does not run anything to interfere with my weapons. So I think it's a safe play like this. So yeah, I'm assuming you guys know like the basic concept of card games, at least from something like Magic the Gathering or Hearthstone, or maybe you played Scrolls back in the heyday. May it rest in peace. It was a great game. But yeah, if you've played those games, you'll know that this does quite a bit to shake up the formula, and I think it's pretty awesome for it. So yeah, at the end here, this guy, I've got better stats than him. He's got a bit more health, but with my big weapon, yeah, he's going down much faster. And that's how the final battle works. Depending on what kind of deck you play and what kind of deck your opponent's playing, you don't always make it to the final battle. There still are plenty of ways to do damage to your opponents if you want to hit them outright, and there are also ways to kind of trip up their strategy and make them kill themselves. Or yeah, there are all sorts of cool cards for messing with them in different ways. So as you'll see, I'm at the lowest gold rank. I literally just got to gold before making this video, and then I stopped playing ranked for a bit. I got here with a really cheap, what's basically an aggro deck. Of course, like all card games, even with this very different playstyle, cheap aggro decks, one of the best ways to climb in rank really early on, whenever you don't have a lot of cards yet. So yeah, I designed the deck myself, and I'm going to make a video about it right after I make this video. This is just introductions though, we'll get to that stuff later. So yeah, playing, you'll have play against AI. There are no like adventure type things, it's just normal matches. But as you saw, like the matches themselves are already kind of RPG adventures in their own way. They're already pretty interesting in and of themselves. And then you've got your casual games where there's no rank. You use this if you're just starting out. I'd recommend playing here. A lot of newbies play here. Then there's the rank. As you rank up, and you get to a new tier, you get a bunch of cool rewards. I've already gotten like tons of packs just from ranking up. The rewards are instantaneous, which is nice. You don't have to wait till the end of the season. So yeah, that a great way to boost your collection. You got your store here, and yeah, so you'll get a bunch of packs in copper early on, and then after that, you get a bunch of quests that you get to get more copper to buy packs with. And then you also get bonuses for playing, just playing and winning games every day. The more games you win, the higher the reward you get for playing those games up to certain points. Yeah, all that's pretty standard. Oh yeah, there's also a draft mode. I've done this a couple times. I am not very good at this yet. TBH. Oh yeah, you also get some of the free-to-play currency just for leveling up your characters, so you get a bit of that early on. I used that to play this and got destroyed. But yeah, there is a draft mode. It's similar to Hearthstone's, but a bit different. But pretty similar, really. Not much to write home about there. I'd recommend use your copper for opening packs at first. You can't use your knowledge of previous card games to just be good at drafting right off, because the game is so much different. Just take it from me. It's more efficient just to buy packs early on. Maybe once I understand the game a bit better, I can get into this. Yeah, there's different customization things. You got these Call of Duty style titles that you unlock, and yeah, all that's pretty straightforward, not too exciting to talk about. Let's talk about deck building for a little bit. So if I were to look at the game that I was just playing with earlier, the deck rather, so you get 30 cards minimum in each deck. Unlike something like Hearthstone or Scrolls, or I think Magic as well. Yeah, Magic's always 60. You do get a bit of flexibility in your deck size. You can go from anywhere from 30 to 35 cards. I will tell you right off, you should probably stick with 30. Don't go extra. You're not going to fatigue or anything like that. You don't draw that much in a game. By default, you're going to draw your starting hand and then, 12 more cards? Yeah, 12 more. And then you might, have more draw in your deck, but whatever. If you want to build your own deck, yeah, here's what I just did. If you guys want to know like a baseline for a pretty rudimentary deck, you guys can figure that out later. If you want to make your own deck, the game makes it easier to break you in, because it is quite a bit different from other card games. It takes a bit to kind of figure out, get your bearings, how to build your own deck. Whenever you build your own deck, you'll have a couple of basically prefab decks that help you get started, and they'll have 20 of the 30 cards you need already in them. So this will give you some core cards to start you off, and then you just fill it in with whatever you think is cool at the time. Excuse me. So I would say, to help you start, some important considerations. Look at how much gold you need to spend to use your support cards, and then look at how much gold you have in your rewards, like how much gold you can earn from the cards you're playing. Like right now, between all of the cards, I can get 19 gold in drops, but I only have 2 plus 2 plus 4, so 8. 8 gold to spend. So I have way more gold than I need right now. So if I want to add stuff in, I'd probably look at something like these are cards that you start with. So that's why I started to add cards like this, where you get big weapons, maybe to help you take out some bigger minions, or bigger creatures. Sorry, they're not your minions; they're against you. You play creatures to fight, but I also don't have very many big creatures right now either, and I might help to have some bigger guys. But yeah, making sure you have enough gold to pay for the things you want to pay for is one of your biggest concerns. Also, make sure that you don't just fill up your deck with a bunch of big stuff that you're not going to be able to fight early on. You want to have some smaller creatures to fight, so that you can kill them early without taking a ton of damage, and so you can start to get like the basic rewards you need to get before building up, and before you get like the weapons or the stat upgrades you need to fight and kill some bigger guys. So after I kill some of these early guys, or use this thing to get some early gold, I might end up equipping this weapon, or I get some attack buffs from this, and then I want to fight something bigger so I get even better rewards from the same amount of cards, right? So I'd probably look at something like this guy is a basic card that you don't need to open in a pack. You just get him from leveling up this character. So battle the AI a bit and level up your character. You'll unlock this pretty early on. And I might want to have a couple of these because I want to build up, like in my deck, the deck I showed off, I wanted to build up my attack points for the big final battle. That's like the sort of considerations you need to look at. Biggest thing, definitely make sure you don't starve yourself of gold. Definitely make sure you don't end up with too many big creatures that you can't play early on. Make sure you have early plays, and just make sure you have the means later on to build up to beat the bigger creatures. So you've got the starting decks to help you out. As you play, you'll get a feel for it. So that's how you basically get started. Yeah, I don't care about that deck. So yeah, I'll get more into the specifics of deck building and show off a specific deck that is super cheap and really effective in the next video for those wanting to get into it. I recommend, if you like card games, or even if you don't and you just want to play like an interesting strategy game and have thought about getting into card games before, this is a game that is like fundamentally different. I know, like, looking at a glance, you might think it's just another Hearthstone ripoff, but it's if you are familiar with Hearthstone, you've seen me playing that it's quite a bit different. In fact, it kind of turns the tropes on their head, as it were. Getting started right now, since the game's just starting, it certainly seems like it's very easy to get into. It takes a bit to learn, but playing against the AI and then playing in casual, it's easy to get a feel for it, and everyone else is just starting too. People don't have a bunch of crazy cards right now in the lower ranks. I am just now getting to the point where I'm playing against people that have a bunch of, like, the highest rarity, legendary, basically, cards. But even then, with my very cheap deck, I've been able to, compete very well against them. And again, we'll get more into that. But yeah, I just recommend it. It's a blast. It's not like other card games, so if you want something fresh, this is it. It's much less random compared to Hearthstone, so if that's something that irked you, yeah, this does that. This deals with that. It's also, if you want to put money into it, it's also a bit cheaper in terms of how you get, packs. Yeah, the packs are a bit cheaper, and you get quite a bit. It's pretty generous with its rewards. So yeah, all of that, just throwing all of that out there. It seems to be, pretty nicely balanced. Yeah, I love card games. I am sick of the same old, and The games that just seem like, they were rushed out and just are looking to kind of cash in on a trend to grab up a bunch of money. Coming from the makers of RuneScape, of all things, this game really impressed me. I started out very cynical, and I'm having a great time. So I highly recommend it, and yeah, I'd love for you, some of you, my viewers, to start playing it. Hit me up. It's on Steam, by the way. I'll link it in the description. Hit me up, and we can maybe we can play together. We can try it out and get better together, and grow as players and have a great time. I don't know. Just thought I'd throw it out there. But yeah, if anyone's out there wanting to see some more of this game, I think I'm going to upload a bit more of it. I don't upload very regularly, but I am going to do a bit more at least. So, yeah. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys soon with more of this. Bye-bye.